with that.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I just wasn't prepared.
With him being able to remove it?
No. But just the fact that he gets now distracted.
With the muzzle.
With the muzzle.
So instead of going for like the thread, he's going for the muzzle.
Yeah.
It's normal.
Okay.
Okay, we'll work through that today, so it's not a big deal.
Okay.
Don't worry about that. It's nothing that you did wrong.
Okay.
So that's why I always suggest that people counter condition, right, with the food stuff.
Yep.
Almost always when we're dealing with stuff like this, the counter conditioning makes it easier.
Yeah.
Okay. But at some point, because we got to jump into the training, it's like, all right, man, well, you're gonna have to just get over the muzzle.
Yeah.
And that's where we do
so that's
force
why
conditioning.
I felt like we had him conditioned because he wasn't, when we take him to the vet, and I didn't understand, I guess, until I got him out, like around other people and other dogs because we weren't walking him with a muzzle before.
Okay.
So I guess I wasn't anticipating that happening. Because he was okay with it, and when we were doing it in the house and stuff, I guess it was my bad that I wasn't taking him out with it, like on walks and stuff.
Sure.
So now that we're doing this, I'm like, oh man, I feel like I set us back. Because...
No. We'll work through it today.
Okay.
What I would suggest is, in the time being, muzzle anytime you're gonna work with them, even outside, because one more exposure gets them comfortable with it, right?
Sure.
It's just another thing that you put
it's
on.
It's just something normal, like
right?
putting on shoes or something to go outside.
Once he accepts it, let's say it's 4 weeks from now, okay? And it's like, man, he's great, we can walk him, we don't feel like we need the muzzle anymore, this and that, right? I always suggest that people just have it with them just to have it.
Sure.
But you don't have to have it on them. But then when you're going into new environments, it's like, hey, you know what? We're at a point where we want to bring them to like a friend's house. You're going to go back to the muzzle. Because now we got new contacts, right? Yeah. But you've already done the work that the initial resistance and like the fighting of the muzzle shouldn't be there anymore. Okay? So, yep.
And I guess the other thing that, my bad, and you mentioned it last week about, letting him be a dog, I was letting him do that all the time. So like when we were walking, he wanted to sniff a tree or he wanted to do that. So we never really had him in like the working dog mode for a walk. So I noticed that, and now I'm trying to break him of that habit. He's like, hey lady, where's this coming from? Because for the last 3 years we've been walking like at his pace, not my pace. So
it's a new way of thinking and being. It's normal.
Yeah. No, and I feel bad, like I said, because I guess that he's the first dog I guess we've had that's had an issue. So I've never done formal dog training before.
Sure.
So yeah.
And this isn't like, there's the typical like issue, and then there's the issue. Okay. So give yourself some slack there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, like I said, it's just a lot of realization. I learned so much, I guess, that I'm like, man, I did not know this,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm grateful.
Okay. How did it go this week?
Not bad. Unfortunately, I injured my shoulder, so we didn't get to go out on garbage day.
Okay. Sure, that's fine.
Luckily, it's my right shoulder.
Okay.
But that was the whole thing. Like, with the clicker, I'm obviously more comfortable when I have somebody telling me when to do it. So I'm just trying to find like the right. Paying attention to him, I was a little bit overwhelmed in the beginning, like getting the levels and everything kind of set. But this morning he did really well. We, for the first time, kind of encountered another like rambunctious dog. And he did okay. He didn't lunge. He did the muzzle thing, but he didn't lunge.
Okay.
We have a neighbor that next door that he normally lunges at or will go for, or like get excited to go for.
Sure.
He's kind of backed off of that a little.
Okay.
We had to take him to the vet on Tuesday, and usually he has to get sedated and everything. So we did it there. They were not happy about the e-collar, but I know. And I told him, I said, you know what? I've done everything. I realized that he's sad, and it's funny because he's like, well, it's going to make it worse. Dogs that are like this. I said, he's not aggressive, he's nervous. And that's what we determined. So I kind of showed him up because he did sit and just like he is now. We wouldn't do this last week. This is exactly how.
I know. That's why I started moving around because a nervous dog movement triggers.
Yeah.
So like when we were in the consult and he was settled, and then we laughed, remember, and then he blew up again, and I said the energy changed. So right now, because I was standing still, and I'm like, this is good, because even when you came in right there, he saw me, but it wasn't like the last time when he saw me and went for me.
Yeah.
Here he saw me, he's like, not the biggest fan of you,
right.
but he just walked through here. here I walked around as you were standing still to see is he going to target.
Yep.
He's giving me his back.
Yep.
Whereas before it was eyes on you.
I noticed a huge difference, and it's funny. I was kind of getting a little bit frustrated because when we were doing some of the exercises, like you mentioned, like walking along the street, and he wasn't reacting at all. So I'm like, I can't even use it because
it's okay.
He's just but
so,
I could.
Whenever you get an opportunity, okay, you're not going to get everything within a short time frame, right?
Yeah, no, I know.
So I understand,
We got a lot of
the frustrations of just like, man, but as you progress and your confidence goes up, you're going to start pushing more.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
So,
parenting. Yeah, I can see that.
one thing I don't rush people. Like, I get some clients that beat themselves up and they're like, Jesse, like, I know I was supposed to do this, but I just wasn't ready for it. And I go, that's fine. Because you just said you weren't ready for it. Because I know if I push you before you're ready and things go south, it's going to set you back even more, right? And then, but when they're ready for it, whether it be a week later or 2 weeks later, and they go into it, and it goes south, but they recover, and they're like, Jesse, it went south, but we recovered, and we worked through it, and I feel like I have the skills. I'm like, that's what I want, right? So if the opportunity comes up, obviously if you can, utilize it. If it's, user discretion, if it does not seem like a good situation, don't utilize it. It's all in time.
Well, that's what I did push myself this morning. Like when I said that, normally I'm like, I saw him coming, I'm like, oh man. And you know what? Like I said, he did great. I think we've actually kind of moved on now. He's always been more people reactive than dog reactive. So I don't know if that was switching or if it was the person or just the situation. I ironically think it was the dog because when he went for the muzzle, I think that was he realized that he may have been at disadvantage. I don't know. I can't read his mind, but it was just very strange that.
What was the dog doing?
Oh, the dog was going crazy.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
So energy,
Yeah.
right? So if you're like, hey, every time he sees a calm dog or whatever.
Yeah.
So remember, reactivity is a spectrum.
Yeah.
And human reactivity is almost always the first thing that goes away. Then it's calm dogs, excited puppy energies in the middle, other reactive dogs, or sudden run-ins, like when you turn a corner or elevator door opens, dog, those are end of spectrum, okay? Because if a dog's lunging at him and like talking shit, he's like, what? And he's want to talk shit back, right?
And that's what I was just so shocked with the whole muzzle response because I'm like, so then I'm like clicking and I'm like, come on, and I'm turning and I'm clicking and he's just grabbing the muzzle and.
What you would do if you're stationary is when he goes for the muzzle, you would just go up, right? And maybe, not maybe, up until like the front paws are off the ground. Because now you're going to use his body weight against him. Because now his body weight's pulling down. He's wanting to do this, and you're putting the pressure on. And at some point, he's like, okay, either I'm sitting on the ground and I'm balanced, or I'm off balance trying to fight this muzzle with this thing going on.
Okay. So do the same. So do that and this at the same time.
Correct.
Okay.
Until you see him remove his paws from the muzzle, then you would relax, and then he goes back to it. You pull up, tap, 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 tap. So it's like we did in the room. Yeah. Right. It's that up because up de-escalates, back or up and back escalate. Okay. So if he's fighting,
I did not engage the
up and tap.
Collar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, okay.
Yeah, but now as we advance, because I think I may have even limited you on stuff, just because I was trying not to overload, but also there's things that I know that could happen that you don't know that could happen. I'm like, I'd rather just avoid it. But good, I'm already seeing progress here. Yeah. So you went to the vet, and how'd the vet visit go?
Fine. We did not sedate. So they usually give them, which I hate to give them, but they make me do it. So we usually give them gabapentin. So I gave him that, but they did not have to inject him. Okay. But they also let me come in because when I showed up with he's always muzzled, but when I came in with the e-collar and with the prong collar, they were like, whoa. And I said, look, you guys, they won't let him board there anymore. I said, I'm trying to help him, so you need to help me help him. So they let me go in with them, and which they've never done before. I didn't have to. I did not use the e-collar. I just used the prong collar. But after I pulled him a couple times, it was just like this. He was totally fine.
Fine, and they were able to do their thing.
Nebulate him. Yep.
And before he'd have to be under.
Oh yeah, they would sedate him.
Yeah.
They would leave him.
That's funny, huh? How that stuff works.
But that's what I told them. I said, you can't tell me, But like right away when they saw it, they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. But I told you, they think that every dog is perfect. You don't have to act perfectly. But I'm like, look. Clearly it's doing something right because he has, the last 3 years he's been going there, it's really been the last year that they've insisted he be sedated.
Sure.
And he wasn't.
I actually had to help a client in Indiana. His vet's in Indiana, so I had to drive down there with them to go in with them because nobody would touch the dog.
Yep.
And I handled the dog. He showed up on drugs already. I forgot what it was, like 3 or 4 pills of something. He was drooling and he was all like this. Go in the room. As soon as the vet came in, started blowing up, right? I calmed him down. They injected him. Waited 15, 20 minutes. Came back. They went to pick him up. Woke up. Started flipping out again. Injected him again. And finally, he was out enough that we could pick him up and then, like, take him. I'm like, all that nonsense, and you could just, like, let us do what we need to do.
I know.
So, all right. Well, I'm glad you're seeing progress.
Yeah.
What we're going to start off with first is, what's your number currently?
We are at 52, which is probably a little high.
Okay. What's his number been?
So we've been between, like, just normal circumstances. Like, we start out at like 40.
Okay.
But I mean, that goes up pretty quickly. It's probably too low. I'm probably starting too low. So I guess let's.
So don't worry about starting out too low.
Okay.
Okay. So for this week, because I know we kind of breezed through it last time, it's okay to start low.
Well, and that's what I was kind of concerned because we used your collar last week and this one doesn't have the thing. So I was nervous about that.
So typically what we do is we start at 15. So like he does his business, pee poop first, get that done.
Yep.
15, 20, 25, 30 until you find that number.
Yep.
Maybe it's 35. Then you start your walk.
Gotcha.
Once you start walking, because walking is also a distraction,
Yep.
sniff this, pee on that, poop on this, then you might have to adjust that number
Yep.
again, right? So you're starting low.
So maybe I'm not starting low enough then because I find that I'm having to go pretty high.
Okay, what's the number? What's the highest you've had to go?
So this morning with the dog situation, like we were up to like 90.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then without the dog?
Without the dog, if it's just like a muzzle thing, like where he's pulling, 70 in the 70 range.
Sure. So we'll start at, what, you're at 40?
Yeah, 40.
Go ahead and give a tap here. Tap. Okay. So you see how big he responded
Yeah,
there.
too much.
Let's go down to 25. Tap. Let's go down to 15.
This is the lowest
Mm-hmm.
or
Tap.
the biggest reaction.
20.
But you know what? I also haven't. Should I be doing it inside or always outside?
Outside.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause that's
it's
real.
within the driveway. Yeah. So I was just wondering if it might
Yeah.
be.
Tap. We'll start at 20. But you can see how, like, we're going by the jumps, right?
Yep.
So,
I was
again,
just wondering if I was starting too high because we were outside and he was already like amped.
Yeah.
But that's where.
yeah.
Okay.
So you've not done anything that I would say is wrong. Okay, so don't worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
You're not going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're not always going to be right. That's
Yeah,
just how it
I
is.
was surprised how uncomfortable I was this week, but obviously it's for benefit because there's a huge difference. So
Right.
I just need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Breaking out that comfort zone, right?
Yep.
I've been doing this for 10 years. This is why I'm not fazed by stuff. So I always tell people, when you see me worry, you can worry. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start at that 20. I'm going to just have you show me what you practice, the back and forth, the turns and stuff. Then we'll move on to the next one, okay? Hey, Bree, is my sleeve in that room? Whenever you're ready. And relax. Good turn. Keep forward, relax. Good. Thank you. Good turn. Keep nice and relaxed. Good. Good. Good turn. Good turn. Now slow walk, but keep forward. Good. Go ahead and speed up. Good. Slow to slow turn. Good. And I'm gonna have you slow down and stop by like that corner right there. Yep. Excellent. So what you're gonna do here is go ahead and shorten your leash a little bit. I just want to test this threshold, okay? And then you're gonna just loop it. So you got it, that's good. And you're gonna loop it so that your fingers are grabbing on the outside of that leash. You got a good hold. There's just one correction. Is you have here, here, right?
Oh, I'm not using my finger.
Correct, and then like that, okay?
Yeah.
Then you're gonna just pull that through, sorry, till you shorten up to the clip like you were earlier,
Okay.
like that. Now take a step forward, relax. Right there, perfect. I wanna test this threshold, okay? So if things go south, expect it. So there's a little flinch there. See how the breathing stopped?
Yep.
Breathing open. So body language, right, means under stress or venting stress. Okay, you have to read according to context. Here I would just kind of consider this as his like kind of natural stress levels.
Yep.
Or, because I haven't really seen his face much, just the way his face is built, like, you know, bulldogs and stuff, they just like pant.
Yep.
So also taking that to consideration. Right here, no problem, right? When I come in closer, listen.
Yep. So he's bracing himself. Yep.
So the breathing, venting stress or whatever, silence. What's happening right now is making me uncomfortable. Okay? But it's not a bad thing. It's communication.
Right.
And he's letting you know, hey, Jesse, moving that sleeve next to me a foot away, I don't like it, right?
Yeah.
But so he quieted and he licked his lips as well. A stress sign of like, hey, what's happening makes me uncomfortable. It's okay. We have to get him, like what you said, comfortable with the uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
He then has a decision. Do I do nothing or do I do something? Right? So right there, he quieted down, he licked his lips and back to panting. That was him just processing the moment. This happened, I didn't like it, I'm letting it go.
Yeah.
It could have been like last week. Remember last week?
Yeah,
We're just walking past me right here, just like, ooh, I don't like you, right?
Yeah.
So here, with me closing this threshold, if he did have a negative response, I go, no big deal. That tells us where we're at. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So I'm gonna come in a little bit closer. Wait a second. Back to panting. Lip licking, quiet. Back to panting. Tap, 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 tap. Now go ahead and start the bump. Tap, 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 tap. Bump. Mm-hmm. No worries. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Bump. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Bump. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Tap, tap. Bump. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, tap, tap. And you're going to put a little bit of pressure back, and then bump your number. Tap, 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 tap. Tap, tap, tap. Bump it. Where we at?
47 now.
Okay. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. 60. Tap. 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 Very good. Tap. Tap. A little bit of pressure back. And then bump your number. 75.
Okay.
Tap. 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 85. Tap. 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 Wait a second. Relax. Good. Tap. Tap. 95. And you're gonna do here. You're actually gonna do down like this, and then towards the back, towards your leg like that. Tap. 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 Right there. Hold on. Okay. Now position yourself next to him. Now relax. Good. Okay. So what we did there is the way I describe it is we have forward motion and backwards motion.
Yep.
Forward would be fight.
Okay.
All that lunging.
Yep.
So you're just countering him a little bit, that was his direction. So typically the rule is don't pull back, pull up.
Right.
But since he was already moving forward, what I wanted to see him do was move backwards, right? It's retreat.
Yep.
So here, I kept the thread on by keeping it in his face.
Yep.
And you can see how he was just there stoically.
Yep.
And you increase the pressure. Then we get 45, 60, whatever, right? And then what number are we at now?
95.
95. So during this time, he's going even more.
Yeah.
So the collar is saying go. But we don't want it to mean go, we want it to
Right,
mean
stop.
no, right?
Yeah.
So you might read like e-collar makes dogs more aggressive.
Yeah.
Yes and no. Yes, if you use it the wrong way. 2, when we're trying to teach them that pressure means stop, you're gonna cause an increase in tension, right? Because he doesn't know.
Right.
That's why we keep the pressure on. So here, let's say at 45 you tapped him and he would have backed off. You've been at 45, we're done, right? Here we kept increasing, and then I had to just go a little bit back because I wanted a little bit more pressure to incentivize them. This is what we need you to do.
This is, I mean, honestly, I mean, that is, he doesn't back down. So
No.
just to see him even do that, it's like, clearly, it's new to him, but yeah, I mean, he hasn't done that.
He hasn't done it. So now the brain is learning, hey, I felt this pressure, it kept going up, and until I moved back and back down, it kept going up.
Yeah.
So now he's learning like, oh, this is,
Going.
it'll keep going up. There's also another option for things. It doesn't have to always be fight and engagement. Sometimes I can back off, right? Because here, after you disengage them, we're also still in this context. That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
Is typically when we get these responses, we want to remove the dog, remove ourselves, and the dog thinks, great, this is exactly what I wanted. But how are they going to get used to the context of being around people?
Well, right, exactly.
Right, so
well, that's our problem is we were fleeting every time we had an encounter instead of engaging.
Engaging, but of course you need the tools.
Yeah.
And not just the tools, but the willingness to go there.
Right.
Right? Like if you're not willing to go to 95 and you only go to 35, we're looking for a very long journey that's probably going to go nowhere. Okay, so like right now we're just keeping it simple. I just wanted to show you a couple of things. So when you're walking with him, let's say you hear this and it's someone like on a bike. And as they're approaching, you hear that breathing go silent.
Yeah.
What does that tell you now?
Well, yeah, then he's trying making a decision.
Right. Now don't be preemptive unless you're seeing
Let
those.
him make the choice.
Yes, right? Now there's a difference between letting him make the choice and him making the choice.
Right.
So if like let's say he's here, he's breathing heavy, right? His shoulders moving up and down, it's very obvious. And all of a sudden he just zones in and he quiets down. This you can correct because he's zoning in. Okay, but if he's just like this going, this is gonna make me feel uncomfortable, there's no tension here. It's just discomfort. But when this discomfort and tension,
And I watch too because it's very obvious, like when his haunches go up, when the hair on his back goes up, that's when he's uncomfortable or he's. So can I use that as an indicator, or am I always going into breathing?
yes and no, because in the beginning, hackles doesn't mean I'm gonna do it. Hackles is just another sign of like, I don't like what's going on. So as we progress, don't worry about trying to be perfect, okay? Because there's what I call onto the fence behaviors, where it's the dog could be aggressive or they could do nothing, right? So if you just like, let's say you decide, I'm gonna just see what he does.
The bike is a good example. Okay, so sorry, I interrupted you. So the bike is a good example because he's reactive to
Bikes.
Okay, so a bike's coming at us and the breathing. Breathing and licking. Okay, so where, I guess, is my decision? At what point do I make the decision whether or not, or help me, I guess, figure out how I'm going to engage if I'm going to engage?
Okay. First thing is always assume it's going to happen.
Okay.
So what do we want to do prior?
So, I mean, well, I want to make sure that I'm in control.
Okay.
So,
What did we, right now, pretend I'm the bike.
right.
What did we do first?
Sorry.
It's okay. We adjusted one thing.
We adjust. Or,
Now it's after.
that was after. We did our pressure.
Your
Yeah,
leash.
Okay. Yep.
We changed your leash.
Yeah, okay.
Because when you were standing, there was too much slack. And
Right.
because I know,
Okay, so I see a bike coming, I'm gonna adjust leash, gotcha.
you're going to take slack.
Yep.
Step aside, take slack. Because by taking slack, you're assuming you're going to be reactive.
Right.
So I'm going to limit your range of motion. Okay, that's the first thing. The next thing is pressure. Okay, so you're assuming he's going to be reactive, but you're not starting with this because you have to see, is he going to take it or not? Let's say you're at 60. Bike comes, he lunges, tap, tap, tap on 60. Bike is gone, he's still lunging, 60 did nothing.
Right.
The next, don't worry about it. We see another bike, step aside, adjust the leash. 60 didn't work, 70, right? Didn't work. All right, next time, 80. Next time, and finally, 100. He lunges, tap, boom.
So I'm putting the pressure on, and then he's gonna make the decision whether or not he's gonna lunge.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay? So, but you're building off of your failures.
Right.
Okay? Because that's gonna be quick.
Yep.
you're not going to get there fast enough.
Well, I guess that's what I learned this week. Is I was trying not to freak out when I was trying to correct him, like trying to remember all the different steps. So this helps because now I have another tool. Like this morning, I didn't use the pressure with the dog. So.
Oh, sure. Okay. Now you can, okay, because you've had a good week of practice and everything.
Yeah.
So you step aside, short and leash first, okay? Limit range of motion. Look at your baseline. I'm at 60. Doesn't work the next time 70. Doesn't work the next time 80. Doesn't work next time 90. Doesn't work next time 100. And all of a sudden he tries to lunge. You tap at 100, and he backs off and sits down and just takes it. 100. Okay. So then, if obedience-wise 60 is his number, you go down to 60. I see a bike. Step aside 100. Right. And then what we see is he goes, hey, last time I got tapped on 100. Here's another bike. What happens if I don't do anything?
Yeah. Not gonna get tapped.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then another bite. Well, let me just double check. Lunge, 100, okay. That confirms my suspicions, okay? That's how dogs learn. They're all about repetition, okay? So you're gonna get failures, okay? But that's why you're doing this first. Because it's one thing to have a failure and not be prepped for the situation, and another thing to have a failure but knowing you're going into it, trying to get that research. That's what it's like, an experiment.
Building blocks, it's building blocks.
Because
you
most
have to fail in order to succeed.
people assume, oh, aggressive dog, you must just come in and punish them. I go, no. We always start low, and I work my way up. The dog will tell me the number. His just happens to be up there. But we picked that up last week. We learned all that stuff last week, right? So we're just building in all these things, and eventually you're just going to learn. Like bike, 100, dog, 60, walks, 35, Jesse, 127,
No, this is crazy. Like just in a week's time, how...
So I'm not going to worry about this today. I want to get a feel, but also to show you how to recognize even his breathing, right? Is that change in breathing, that silence is the precursor, okay? And you know him better than I do. Whenever you see a potential stimuli where you're like, this is something that Doug doesn't like, you want to just prep, get your collar ready, and Doug, okay? And then just be mindful not to get tunnel vision. So like, let's say you have Doug here and you're stepped aside, is you're watching him because he's your responsibility, but use your peripheral range to see all this too. Because sometimes people get stuck on this and they don't see what's happening here, right? So if you need to step in, maybe someone's like, oh, look at your dog. It happens, even with muzzles. It's like, oh, you must have stepped aside for me. And like, no, we're training. Keep it going.
Well, that's what I told her this morning. She's like, oh, my dog's, he's really friendly. I'm like, as I told her, I'm like, we're training.
Sure.
So that's when, she was holding him back, but that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Like, my dog's not friendly, so just because yours is.
Correct. It's super common, okay? So you want to watch the dog, but at the same time use a peripheral range, because, you'll see it where, like, the person is walking up like this, and you'll see the dog in front of them, and you look up like, whoa.
Well, it happens, you gave a good example last week with the stroller and the kids. It happens so often when we're walking, and you've got little kids, 3, 4, and they show, dog, can we pet your dog? Oh my God, it gives me a heart attack every single time.
Yeah.
So
one thing that you can do is, if that happens, is one, again, shorten that leash, but also stick your leg out. Okay.
In front of him?
In front of, more so the kids. So like if I have Doug here, I'm like this, right?
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
The reason why we do that is the kids will look at your foot like, what are you doing? And then you can tell them no, right? But they get so tuned into the dog that they'll bypass the words. Because I've done this several times. I just stick my foot out and the kids are like, what the hell? I go, nope, go, right? And I'm a jerk when I do this.
Oh yeah, no, and that's what I recognize it because I've always tried to be too nice and it keeps happening.
They bypass nice.
Yes.
And just think of it this way, because I had this happen to a couple of kids. I was at the park and they ran up to us with their dog. Now the dog was social, but these kids were running up to strangers with their dog saying hi to other dogs, right? One, kids shouldn't be going up. These were young kids. Don't go to strangers. Two, what if there's a dog fight? Right?
What are they going to do?
So here, I scolded the kids and made it very unpleasant because I wanted it to be a deterrent, right? Remember, negative experiences deter behaviors. So if I do them like, no, get out of here, you're not going to touch my dog, I come across as an asshole, but I'm trying to deter the kids from doing it again.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
Reason. It's not because you're a jerk, it's because you're trying to teach them something.
Yes, okay, so don't feel bad. That's how it works. So what we're going to do here is, let's go ahead and bring that number back down again, because we're not doing behavior right now. I'm gonna have you go down to 25. So behavior number and the obedience number may be different, okay? As we're gonna add a few formalities, okay? So here we didn't say heal for the week, we just wanted to teach the behavior first.
Right.
Now we're gonna start adding a little bit more nuances and we're gonna put an actual name to this, okay? So the word we use is heal. Technically, if you don't say anything, you walk out with Doug, he's off the clock. He can pee, poop, roll around, sniff the ground, but the moment you cue heal, everything that we covered last week and everything we covered this week goes into effect, okay? Now this is obedience. Even if Doug were on break, like, you know, peeing or whatever, he still can't be a jerk, okay? So don't think of like only when he's in heal, he has to behave himself. No, there's more nuances to it, okay? So this part's very simple. You're gonna cue the word heal first, and then you're gonna move forward with your left leg first, okay? So you're gonna say the word heal, then you're gonna move forward with your left leg, you're gonna walk like you were earlier, come to a stop, he should automatically sit. If he doesn't, what you're gonna do is lightly pull up on your leash, tap on the collar, as soon as he puts his butt down, good, wait a moment, heel, and left leg, okay? When you're ready, heel.
Heel. Then you can stop, right?
And then you're gonna go ahead and do a slow turn here. Yep, keep your arm relaxed. And then tap, now keep your pressure up, tap, 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 tap. Now praise, good.
Good boy. Good boy.
You know, wait a moment, relax your arm. And when you do your turn, because a lot of people do this, you tend to use your arm to turn him.
Yep.
Keep it nice and relaxed because he should be turning with you.
Okay.
Because he's reading your
So
body
don't
language.
lead him. He should be an automatic. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Heel.
Okay. Heel.
Good. Good. Much better. Much better. Good. Now here you're not going to say sit. It's okay. Your turn was good though. Your arm was relaxed, okay? And I'm going to have you give maybe 6 inches of slack here. That's good. And heel.
Heel.
Good. Get ready. Relax that arm. There you go. Good. Tap. Good. Now praise. Good boy. Good. Heel.
Heel.
Good. Keep relaxed. Good. Tap forward, tap, tap, keep forward, tap. Good, relax. Good. And turn, but keep your movement here. Now slow down to a stop. Good. Light up. There you go. Now praise. Good. So if he sits by himself like that, because that butt went down really quick, we don't do tap, we don't do pressure, just praise. Okay, we're gonna try a couple more. Heel.
Heel.
Relax that arm. Good. Keep relaxed, just do your turn. Yeah, like that, good. Tap, tap, tap. Good, praise. We're gonna try 2 more.
Heel.
Good, keep relaxed. Yep. It's okay, keep, go ahead and do your turn here. Now relax your arm. Forward. Right. Good. So what I'm gonna have you do here is when you complete your turn, don't stop, keep moving, okay? Because when you feel pressure, your tendency is to give in to him, is keep your movement. Because what's happening is, you're turning.
So this is a dominance thing he has. So when we're on walks, like we'll be walking, and he will, because he wants to go sniff the street or he wants to do whatever, and he will plant himself. So I think that's what he's trying to do. Just from knowing that. That's
Sure.
what he's trying. He's saying, no, I don't want to do. I don't want to go with you. I want to go my way.
Correct.
So keep moving through that.
Yes.
Am I tapping through that? Or
Yes.
Okay.
So what happens is, let's say you complete your turn, right? Arms relaxed. Because what happens is, when you turn and you do this, a dog's first instinct is to go against pressure. So if you're pulling forward, he's going to pull backward. But when you're in a turn, it's very awkward. So you'd keep relaxed. Once you complete your turn, if he puts the brakes on, you just put a little bit of pressure forward and start tapping. And then slowly try to move forward, and it should just get him to move. Okay? If it doesn't get him to move, I'll coach you, and that's when we increase the pressure on the remote to incentivize him to move forward. Right? So we have disengaging or moving back away from something, and then we also have moving forward into something. Okay? And it's the same concepts. It's just where the pressure is leading him is going to be different. Okay? So we'll try a couple more turns. Heel, left leg. Good, keep relaxed. Get ready for a turn. Keep the arm relaxed like that. Good.
Stop or keep going?
Keep going. Now slow down. And now stop. Much better. Light pressure up. Tap. Good. Praise. Good boy. Okay. We're going to try that 2 more times and give him a little bit more slack, like 4 inches.
More slack?
More slack. Now relax. Good. Heel. Good. Yeah, keep relaxed. There you go. See how that turn was easier? Now slow down here. Now stop. Now praise. Yeah, boy. And we're going to repeat. Heel, left leg. Good. Keep relaxed. Turn. Good. Keep forward. Yep, right there. Good. Slow to stop. Tap. Good. Praise. We're going to do 1 more. Heel. Yep. Good. Keep relaxed. And slow turn. Keep forward. Good turn. Keep relaxed. Good. And slow. And stop. Good. Now here, go ahead and shorten.
Now I understand the relaxed thing. Now that the pressure, that totally makes sense.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead and shorten here.
Sure.
So what I'm going to do here is I actually trust that Doug's not going to do anything, but you want to build habits.
Yep.
Okay. So just like old habit was, we see trigger, we avoid.
Yep.
New habit is I see trigger, I shorten the leash, I step aside, I make proactive decisions. Okay. So here, the reason why I'm doing this is right now, from when I'm picking up with Doug, I don't expect him to do anything unless I close that threshold. Okay. Is here at my facility, you know, we have dogs on placemats, and sometimes like all those Keely there is friendly and all that stuff, but sometimes we have not friendly dogs.
Sure.
So I tell all my staff, pretend these dogs are never friendly, so that you're always in this precautionary state.
Sure.
Because what happens is if we always assume they're friendly, and then one day your guard is down, your behavior is one way, and then trying to remember when do I have it up and when do I have it down,
Right.
you're going to make a mistake. So I always opt for to be cautious, be a step ahead, and just always assume.
Yeah.
So now every time you stop, if someone's going to act, like if you see someone approach or something happening, that's your instinct. Okay. So then what happens is if there is a sudden like shit show moment, your instinct is going to be just kicked in. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. And even when you see progress, even when you're like, man, Doug's been awesome, he's not lunged at anybody, you still do it.
Yeah.
Because one day, someone can all of a sudden just like, right in front of you, and then he triggers, not a problem because I have my leash short.
Yeah.
Okay. So here, the reason why I had you give him slack was because of that left arm.
Yep.
Okay. Because you're stuck on using tension. Okay. And remember, pressure is conversation. Right now, do you feel anything? Nope, because you're relaxed and Doug is as relaxed as he can be, okay? During the first consult, right, you would put pressure to counter him when you disagreed with something. As soon as he gave it to you, you would relax. Does that make sense?
Yep.
You get what you give, okay? So if you're giving relaxation, you're gonna get relaxation back. You give tension, you're gonna give tension back, okay? Same thing with excitement and calmness. When people are always like, Jesse, why are your dogs so calm? Because I'm calm. Right? My dogs are excited when I'm excited, but for the most part I'm calm, so that's the energy that they're going to give me back. Okay, same thing for this guy. So here, is all this stuff making sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Totally.
So think of pressure again as a conversation. If he were to pull to your right side, then yes, you would counter him with leash pressure to go left with the remote to bring him over because he's out of place. But you have to give him the opportunity to actually be in the right place before you give pressure.
And
So
I feel like he's gotten good with that, but that moment there, I'm glad that happened because that is common. Because I didn't know better to be correcting him. I was giving in to him, like, okay, you want to smell this tree? Go ahead. You know, I'm letting him rule me, and it's so stupid. I'm a 42-year-old woman, and this dog is running my life.
all over the place. It's all over the place because it's mean. Up, tap.
See?
It's okay. And then tap, tap. There you go, and then relax. Good. But he got up, but nowhere near like that one time when you laughed, right? So it's very common, okay? Because people think it's mean or whatever, and it's not. Dogs need structure, especially a guy like him. Like, he needs direction, okay? So here, I'm not against Doug having Doug time. I just want it to be on your clock. Because you have to think of it as, if I can pee when I want, poop when I want, stop when I want, roll around when I want, sniff the grass when I want, well, I can also lunge at that person, and I can lunge at that dog, and I can lunge at that dump truck.
It all clicked once you said that about the dog time versus working time,
Yes, okay. And even if he's on his dog time, doesn't mean you can lunge at dump trucks, right? We still have rules in play. So here, but it starts with these smaller things, and that's what ultimately leads to the bigger things, okay?
Yeah, no, I totally got it.
So now what we're gonna do is we have two types of major turns. We have the crossover turn and the pivot turn. The pivot turn is essentially what you did last class. Whenever Doug would get ahead of you, and you would always do that pivot turn like this, right? It's the same kind of turn, except you're gonna communicate it, okay? So if Doug is walking with you, so right on the turns, when I said just slow down, give slack, relax your arm, because I wanted to see, what is Doug gonna do when given the opportunity? Because before you were turning him, right? Using the leash pressure, and I go, let the pressure go, relax, and do your turn and see what Doug does. And for the most part, he just turned with you, right? Because he was given the opportunity.
Right.
So same thing here. If I'm walking with Doug and he's at my side and he's paying attention, I need to communicate what I'm doing because I know what I'm doing, he doesn't.
Right.
So if I'm going to turn left, what do we want to do before we stop or slow down? I mean, stop or turn? I just said it.
Oh yeah, we want to slow.
You want to slow down, right?
Yeah.
So you would slow down first, and what you're going to do is you're going to time this turn with your right leg and cut in front of Doug at a 90-degree angle. Step in with your left leg, cut in again with your right leg. Now we go this way, okay?
Yep.
So here, we're walking with Doug. I slow down, at least 3 steps, more is fine. And it's gonna be right, left, right. Now I'm going back the opposite way, okay? So if you're on the sidewalk and you're doing this, and you do it correctly, you should stay within this width of the sidewalk. If you end up in the grass or someone's driveway, you probably took too many steps. Because what most people do is they'll do a 45-degree turn and they'll round it out, so it takes a lot of steps to finally go back the opposite way. It's a 3-step movement, okay? So by the 3rd step, I should already 1, 2, 3, going back the opposite way.
That's a good visual, staying within like the sidewalk.
Yeah, and you can use the cracks too, and just make a very rigid U-turn essentially.
Right. So you're communicating with your body.
Correct.
Which way we're gonna go.
There's no remote here.
Right.
Because if Doug is paying attention, he should follow these movements no problem, okay? Now if Doug is ahead of you, this is not paying attention, what do we do here?
Right. Not paying attention, we're going to tap.
And?
Pressure. Slow down. Wait, he's ahead of me? Oh, we're turning.
Yes, tap and turn, right? To bring him back to that leg.
No, it's so funny because since we've been doing this, he never was one to get ahead of me at all. But so it hasn't happened. I mean, so I mean, it will, like you said, you have
Sure.
to anticipate it.
It's yeah, sooner or later it's going to happen, right? So like last week when he would lunge towards me, right? You were turning and tapping.
Right.
So that happens whenever he passes you, okay? So then, let's say I want to make a pivot turn, but I want to communicate to Doug. Same concept, we slow down, except this one's going to be left, right, left, left, right, left. Again, now going back the opposite way, okay? So left, right, left. Now we're going the opposite way. So for Doug, when you do this, you'll start to see him just naturally round you. So by the time you're coming this way, you're walking together. Okay? Again, this is all body language. He should pick up on it, no problem. If you slow down to do one of these turns and he keeps going, not paying attention, turn, tap, bring him back to your leg, and then try again, okay? So, questions about any of this stuff so far?
No, the choreography of the turns.
I'll coach you through it.
Okay.
We're gonna start first with the crossover turns because that's the hardest for people. So one more time, that's gonna be the right, left, right, right, left, right, going back the opposite way. We're gonna go ahead and give that slack back. Right there, that's good. Good. And heel, left leg.
Heel.
And you're gonna slow down, relax, and time it. So it's gonna be right, left, right, like that, and forward.
Okay. Oh, actually.
Good, get ready for a turn. And time it, right. You got, oh, that was good, you had it. Right, left, right, just like that. Good. And slow down, get ready for it. Right, left, right. Good, forward, good. Keep forward, tap, 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 tap. Good, there he goes, good. Get ready for it. Right, left, right. Now that one you actually technically did left because you turned left, then right, okay? Try it again. Right, left, right, good. One more. And sharper initial turn with the right. 90-degree cut. Like that, perfect. Like that. Then slow to stop. Like that, perfect. Good. So now we're gonna switch to the pivot turns. That's gonna be, from your perspective, left, right, left. Let's go back. Yes, okay. Good, when you're ready. Right, left, like that, now forward. See how he just turns with you?
Yeah.
Here's a few more. Left, right, left. You got it, good. Tap forward, you good? Yep, and relax. Good, get ready for it. Left, right, left, perfect. Couple more. Good, right, left, excellent. You're gonna slow to stop right there by that corner. And up, tap on your leash. Tap, 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 like that. Good, and relax. Good. So here, heel means pay attention, okay? Pay attention to me. So his job, pay attention. Your job, make sure he's paying attention. That's typically just power. And communicate by language, okay? When he's paying attention, you're communicating clearly, it's literally that easy.
But I would say too, when always doing the left leg first and the repetition as a kid, being able to anticipate how we're gonna turn, that's all communication.
Correct. This only comes in when he's not being mindful.
Right.
So what happens typically is, let's say you're outside on a walk, you slow down, he keeps going, is people commit. And they'll pull the dog back and remote, or they'll take a big step trying to accommodate. It'll feel really awkward. If you're turning with Doug and it feels awkward, or you feel like you're overcompensating, you're doing something wrong, okay? And it's almost always we forget to slow down, or we're not high enough, okay? Because he has to be paying attention. Because if he's not paying attention and he goes like this, shh, keep it PG here, he gets ahead of you. If you try to turn here, it's not gonna work. He's blocking you, right? he has to be here so that when you cross over, you saw how he just naturally turned and gave space to you, right? Because it's body language. Because people are like, oh, my dog's so smart and this and that. I'm like, your dog already knew this.
Right. You're the dummy.
It's body language, okay? So it's like dancing, or two like, you know, ballroom dancing or salsa dancing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is you have leader and follower, okay? So, and, oh, he's not here. One of my employees is a dance teacher. And we were talking about this, and I was like, you know, there's leader and follower. An experienced dancer can make an inexperienced dancer look good because they know how to lead well. So when I work with dogs, people are always like, oh, wow, my dog's so good. I'm like, or maybe I'm really good. But hey, let's give the credit to the dog. So, body language, okay? So that's why that slowing down is critical, because
it signals to him something's going to happen. Yeah.
which allows them to take in the information of, hey, I'm crossing in front of you, okay? But you have to be very pronounced, right? Good. Yep, good. And just commit. Don't worry about popping them or anything, okay? Good. Good pivot. Yep, keep forward. Good. Good pivot. Yep, keep forward. Good. Much better. Good. Good pivot. Yep, keep forward. Good. Tap forward. I think he's just getting tired. Good. Good crossover. Just a couple more.
I feel like I have to practice the crossover more.
That's usually the hardest one for most people. People tend to pivot. That's correct. Yep. And then left, and then right. Yep, like that. Good. People tend to pivot with the left, right, left naturally. The crossover is weird for a lot of people.
So with him in that position like that, where he is, he's basically pivoting too. Okay.
He's just turning with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Right, left, right. Good. See how he just curves with you? Now go ahead and slow to a stop. There you go. Perfect. Good. So I see a lot of progress here. Much more sensitive to pressure, not needing as much, right? Now we didn't press like we did last time with like me crouching down and stuff. We're gonna do that. But I want to give you and him more time to practice pressure, so he gets a clear understanding of what pressure is, and then so you get more comfortable with this adjusting and all that stuff, okay? So, but he was being very mindful of your movements. He was matching your speeds with the turns. And on that last one, when you crossed over and you kept going, because your left leg was going to come, so I think you kind of locked up because you saw you were going to collide, bump right through. Okay? Don't be afraid to plow into him, right? Because one of two things happens. One, he's most likely going to adjust to you, which he actually did. Once you committed to it, he just right away, boom. Cool. The other thing is physicality. Okay? This is an indirect way of telling him, like, respect my space, right? So we get some dogs that cross over like this, and it's so tight that it'll knock the owner over. So the way we correct it is actually with the left turn, because remote means comes closer. So you can't use remote here. So instead we go, boom, with the right leg, boom, boom, and the dog goes, crap, there's such a thing as too close. Yeah. And then they find a nice little pocket here, okay?
Well, they do that naturally, because I know when I walk them all together, they all have their space, and they're walking an inch away from each other, but they don't want to touch each other, so you're doing the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, like my pit Lex, she's an assertive dog. If anybody else had her, she'd be a reactive dog, aggressive pit for sure, okay? I remember when I used to take her to a dog park, she's an old lady now, but when she go to the dog park, there'd be the group of dogs there, and you see her just walk real slow, and she's like, boom, 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 just like bump all the dogs back. And I was with a client once, and she did that, and then she was like, "What?" The client was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "She's asserting herself. She's saying, I'm here, right?" So bullying in the animal world is healthy. That's how they establish hierarchy, right? So she was just making herself known, and she's like walking, but you just see her, boom, she's going through them, and the dogs are backing off. So she asserted herself, going like, "Hey, I'm here now," right? So same thing here. People frown upon physicality because they think it's abuse, or they think you're hurting the dog, but it's their language, right? So, because on social media I had people like give me crap about something I put up online. I don't care, but it's so funny to me because I'm like, another trainer put it as, we're forcing dogs to talk our language as opposed to just learning their language.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, like we talked about with the behavior aspect, the meditations and the avoidance, that's not real life.
No.
Right?
Life is you're going to see shit. How do you handle it? How does he handle it? How does he learn to cope with it and deal with it, right? So, but guiding him in his language, physicality, making it very simple. You're going to go that way, where I'm going to go this way, right? Breaking it down so he could understand it, and then building on that. Because once he starts to understand that stuff and get discipline and consequence, even though his breathing is up there, he's much more passive. His ears are back, his eyes are soft right now, his eyes aren't as bloodshot red as they were the last time I saw him, because I remember the consult and I remember the first class, it was just beet red. Yeah, but it's all that pressure. And now that he's starting to relax and stuff, and also his response to pressure, we're 25. Yep. So, this is not going to be consistent. You're going to vary it according to the context, but becoming sensitive of like, okay, when I need to be at 60, 100, 25 type of deal, you'll kind of get used to it, okay? So good job. Homework for this week, keep practicing the heel, keep exposing, incorporating the word of heel. So now you have a trigger word that clocks him in. So technically, if you don't say anything, he's off the clock. The word break means you're now off the clock. That's his time to pee and poop. When you use that word, you want to make sure you release him from a stationary position. So if you come to a stop, he should automatically sit, like we were doing today. Wait a moment, Doug, break, and then lead him to the grass or lead him into the home. He is now off the clock, okay? When he's under the word of heel, you have to correct any sniffing, peeing, pooping, pulling, all that stuff. It's very strict. You only say heel when you go from stationary to motion. So if you're walking and Doug is ahead of you, you wouldn't say heel and tap. You'll just turn and tap. Okay? Only when you come to a stop. Oh, and he auto sits, heel.
That's the command, right?
Yeah, now we go. Okay?
Yep.
Anything else?
The only other questions that I had were, I had talked with Maria about scheduling.
Oh, sure.
So next week I have some travel, so I'm conflicted, and I actually made an appointment with her to board for a few days.
Okay.
So my questions were about that. So obviously he's going to be familiar with you.
Okay.
He's going to be not be able to wear the muzzle all the time.
Okay.
So how, I guess.
Do you have a Baskerville type muzzle?
No, but I can get one.
Okay.
The black.
The black one.
Yep.
Okay, so the reason why we do the black one, hey, Elias, would you grab me a muzzle from the inside of that room there, the retail room? I'll show it to you.
Okay.
So.
Well, if you sell it, I'll buy it from you. If you have one.
These are the ones that we have here.
Gotcha.
You get them on Amazon.
Yeah.
We were gonna do retail, but things happen and no one comes in here. So the reason why the basket muzzle is good is it comes just like yours is, and it has a loop on the bottom to secure the muzzle to the dog's face. But he can drink and eat with it on. Okay. So here, because we had a dog who came in. So you see how it's styled? Like this, right? So here.
I might have one of these.
Whoop. Tip, tip, tip. Up, tip. 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 Yep. There you go. And relax. Good.
Yeah, I think I might have one of those. But yeah, those bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you do is you'll measure the bridge of his nose and the circumference, and then it'll give you the size that he needs What most people do is do a size below and over, because sometimes it's a little off, okay?
Yeah, I've had a real hard time, and that's why we have this one, because I've had such a hard time getting something to fit his face. Okay, so I'm just going to buy 2 then and see which one.
Yeah, so what you do is find the one, fit it to him, bring him with that on, okay? So the reason why we do this one is we've had a couple of dogs come in that could not be unmuzzled,
yeah,
okay?
Well, and that's how he's going to be.
But this one he can drink and eat no problem.
Yeah.
And then once we get comfortable with him, or once he's comfortable with us, because dogs behave differently when they're not with their owners.
Yeah, and that's what the vet kept saying. That's why they wouldn't let me go back with him. Because they're like, oh, he'll be fine once he comes back here. No, he's drugged back there. It's not the same thing.
Sure,
Yeah,
exactly.
I get it. Because he's not, well, he's also very protective of me. So if I'm not here, what is he going to protect? I guess himself.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So here, you could do that. Bring that one too, just to have it. If for whatever reason you can't get this, like you can't size it or whatever, bring them on that, and then bring the ones that you have, and we'll fit everything. And then what we also do is we usually line this up with felt or like athletic tape.
Okay.
So in case the dog has to wear it extensively,
Oh, I can do that in advance. Yeah.
you could do that as well.
Yep.
So if you see it fits him here, don't worry about if his nose is here, as long as it's not smushed against his nose. If his nose is here and it looks like a snug fit, you're fine. Okay.
I'm just worried about it fitting the rest of the face.
Right.
Oh, wow, okay.
So then here we have this secures to a collar,
Yeah.
and then this goes on the top. This also has a lock on it, so that the dog shouldn't be able to remove it.
Right.
And then you unsnap it, and then it unlocks. Okay.
Yep.
And then yeah, so you just line the inside with felt with glue or whatever.
Yep.
This one you don't have to worry so much about, or you could put athletic tape, just because sometimes with the rubbing on the nose, the fur goes off, but it grows back. But you know, in case we, for whatever reason, have to keep them on it, because a couple of guys are new, they haven't been here as long. They've only been here for like half a month.
Like I said, and I think just for a comfort level for him too. I would be more comfortable, obviously, if he was wearing it. So,
Sure.
At least for the first time.
Yeah. So then go ahead and just bring your equipment, his e-collar, his remote, his prong, and all that stuff, blanket, and then just whatever food he would need, and then that's it. Okay. We stopped doing toys and stuff because people's toys are getting mixed up and everything.
He doesn't. And he's not a toy guy.
Okay.
For the most part. Okay.
Other than that, looks good.
And then, so as far as, so for scheduling,